hello everybody. I think I address everyone. How are we feeling? How are we doing? Oh wait, no, that's for Twitch. This is the Rant-A-Way Podcast, where we don't just talk about our favorite things, we rant away about them. Today, I've got my host with me after a long time coming, with, I think it's been a month, Money Green. Money Green, hello.
How you doing?
I'm tired.
I had a. Yeah, no, this is the hardest episode to record. Finally getting going. Actually, I think it's been 2 months. I think the last one we did was in January.
Yeah, so it's been 1 month, right?
Well, 1 whole month is past. No, 2 whole months. Well, the rest of the month of January and then all of February. Now we're in March. Today's March.
Guys, comment below if you think it's been 2 months or 1 month.
It's like one of those things where it's like, I don't know, like the time, you're like, yeah, you got like 3 hours to go, but really it's like 4 hours to go if you count the current hour. Yeah, you know what I mean?
I hear that. All right, so let's see.
One of those weird types of things.
Since it's been a month, or 2 months, depending on if you're from the Midwest, what have you been up to?
Ah, that's a good one. So we just seen Captain America this week.
Okay, how'd you like it?
It was a movie.
Wow, I liked it.
It was a movie. Yeah, my boy hates it when I say that. But I actually got that from a wrestling podcast that reviews shows.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, yeah, so what'd you think of the show last night? Well, it was a show. And I'm like, I like that. Yeah, when it just was. Yeah, it just was. No, I mean Captain America, like I told another friend of mine, I thought it was okay. I mean, it was entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
I saw what they went for. It was okay enough. It wasn't bad. It's not anything that I'm rushing to go watch again. It's not anything like, I have a whole lot I want to sit and have super in-depth conversations about. But it was okay. I talked to somebody else actually too, and they was telling me the difference between movies and shows, and about how some movies would serve better as shows. I feel like that Captain America movie probably could have served better as maybe a TV show, because the twist, spoiler warning. Oh, actually, let me see if I can navigate it without spoiling. The twist everybody knows that Red Hulk's in the movie. The twist with the Red Hulk, with getting him out, I think that could have served to cook in the oven a little bit more. I seen where they was going with it. It's fine, it worked, but I think like it could have used some more time in the oven. I think that would have made it stronger. But no, everything was okay. I thought that Captain America was okay. His name is Sam, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Mackie.
Yep.
Yeah, I think he did okay. Little surprise people they brought in there, they did okay. He seemed solid. Tapping him on the shoulder to be in charge of the new Avengers, I could see what they're going to set up in the future. It felt like a setup movie. That's what it felt like. It was a setup to set up other things.
Okay. So he says it was just a movie.
Yes,
all right.
right.
Did you see Sonic 3?
I didn't, but it's on Paramount Plus. So
okay.
I got that in the queue.
Sonic 3 was cute. Sonic 3 was cute.
Another couple other movies, but yeah, no, that's in the queue finally. Now that's thing. I saw a couple of other movies, but nothing super remarkable. Nothing super remarkable yet. I am excited to watch Sonic though.
Okay.
And I know that July is gonna be my help month with Superman, Jurassic World, my Fantastic Four. Yeah, July is gonna be crazy.
Okay.
So I'm preparing for that.
Oh wait, you're gonna go see Superman?
I'm taking you to see Superman.
What do you mean? This was not discussed.
You told me that we're gonna. Yes, it was discussed. You told me, and I was like, "Yo, you going to see Superman?" I'm gonna see it. I might go see it by myself. I'll take you to see Superman. It's the month after your birthday.
Don't remember that.
You don't remember. You don't remember much of anything.
Yeah, I'm tired.
You don't hold importance in our comments. You
I
see
know.
what I'm
I
dealing
know.
with, people. This is what I gotta deal
All
with. This is what I gotta
right.
deal with all the time.
I gotta deal with managing 15 different things.
This is what I deal with. This is what I go through all the time.
I know we had
But
talked
yeah, no,
about
we said that.
Jurassic Park, but are we like we talked about Jurassic Park in that thing we talked about with the
Yeah, that was most recent. Yes,
okay.
but
So yeah, I don't
way before. Because I think when did I find out? I think I found out about Superman coming out in July at the end of last year.
Okay, it's kind of
And then
coming
I
back
was
to
like,
me.
yo, it's July. You was like, I don't know, I'm gonna sting and see it where I might go by myself or whatever. And I was like, because remember, I
Are
was
you
saying I thought
sure?
you was
Because
gonna try to.
in most cases, I'll just
Yes,
go by
because
myself.
that's what you said, and I said I'll take you because I know you're a Superman fan, and I'll see about because my mother never really goes in the movies because me and you go on Sunday. It's the only day that we have off.
Mm-hmm.
I realize we're doing all of this on the pod now, and this is not a private conversation.
It don't matter.
But
this is your fault.
but I remember I was like, yeah, because my mother is a Superman fan too, and she's gonna act like I don't want to see that. I don't care about Superman because it's not my super. Whatever, you know how they are, the OGs.
My
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, she's gonna be like she don't want to see it, but she can't go. She don't go with us because we usually go on Sunday.
Okay.
And then you was like, I might go by myself, and I was like, nah, I'll take you because I know that you're a fan. And he was like, okay, all right, well, then we'll do that or whatever. And I was like, all right, cool, who? And I was like, I thought I was gonna have to trade going to see that stupid movie that I don't want to see that you said you was gonna drag me to go see, the Barbie 2 movie.
Oh, I was about to say Jurassic Park. Don't you dare!
No,
I will find your car and ram you off the road.
No. Jurassic World is fine. I wasn't expecting them to do another one so fast.
Same, but it's here, and we going to see
Jurassic. Yeah, Jurassic World is fine. I'm looking forward to that one. I'm looking forward to all of them in July. I mean, I want to see what Superman does. Superman is your boy, so I want to see. I want to go there and take a fan to go see Superman, and my mother too. She would go just to see, like, hey, Mom, what do you think about how they did Superman? And she'll sit there and pretend like she doesn't like it, but it'll be okay, like she does with every movie.
Parents, the arbiters of our enjoyment. Okay, so I also saw Wicked, but with all of that being said, what do you have for us today?
What do you think about Wicked?
I really liked Wicked. Wicked was cool.
You really liked it?
Yes.
Okay.
Even though I went into it knowing that it was going to be a musical, I don't want to say it didn't feel like a musical because it was a musical, but it was just a right blend.
I was gonna say
it's a right blend of actually, you know what? Let me use this as an example for the Joker 2 as well, because I like the Joker 2 a bit more than you, but it's not by that much. And one of the things that definitely didn't do it for me was the fact that they used songs, yes, but did that make it a musical? No. Why didn't it make it a musical? Because you're using songs on a very surface level to be like, it's describing what's happening. And I felt like the emotions happening for the characters in the Joker weren't strong enough to dictate it being sung to you. It could have just been told straight. But for Wicked, nah, they had to belt those out. That movie was good. That movie was
a musical
bad
is
cash.
A musical is when they use song and music to progress the plot, right?
Like by definition?
Yeah, I guess, yeah. Or what person to person says it is. Because I mean, I get what you're saying, and that's how I feel about Joker 2. Like Joker 2, they sing about like what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Like you see it happening, and then they recap it in song. They're singing about what's happening on top of you seeing what's happening. They just use songs willy nilly, whatever. It could have not been a musical, and it would have did the same thing. In fact, it might have been less convoluted. Whereas Wicked, they used songs to explain the plot, explain the characters' feelings, progress the plot, and stuff like that. Like the songs mean something. If you're not paying attention to the songs, you're missing details and stuff like that. So I think that's the difference between the two. No.
Yeah. Let's use it for these two. Yes.
Okay.
One's a musical with a capital M, and the other one's a musical with a capital I, because I did not like that. Okay. Okay. Cool. I think we're officially caught
Wicked, up. And I'm not a music fan.
Yes, he is.
See
what I got to deal with, guys? You see what I got to deal with? He'll tell me in private that he likes these things, and then we get on the podcast and he's telling me.
That is a 100% lie. They know it. You know it.
Stop him.
I know it. For like 3 episodes, Kiki sleeping on the bed. She knows it. She knows I don't like musicals. Everybody knows I don't like musicals.
Wow.
But I liked Wicked, so that shows you. If you haven't seen Wicked, I've talked to a couple of people who still haven't seen Wicked. If you haven't seen Wicked, watch Wicked. It's a good movie. I, the person who don't like musicals, the hood classic, as Marcell calls me, liked it. It was a good movie. It was a good. The songs are there, but they don't ruin the movie.
I'm sure they'll make a hood version of Wicked for you. They'll call it
they don't need
Blicky or something. I don't know.
Have you ever seen? Did you ever see that like 2000s version of Romeo and Juliet
with Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yeah, he was in that.
Oh,
that's right.
Gosh, I did not like that movie in school. It was just you know what? I might need to watch that again because I might have a new appreciation for it. But back then,
you should watch it on Twitch.
Dude,
you should watch it with your chat.
I was like, what is this movie trying to like? It took place in like what, California or something in modern day, and instead of swords, they used like desert eagle. Dude, that movie was.
They use guns. Yeah, so that's what every time you say. I bet you they'll do a hood version of a musical movie. That's all I picture.
Oh, there's your Italian mafia hood version. 'Twas doth my love to scent on my gun. What?
Yeah.
What did you say?
I don't need it. I have appreciation for the art form, it being what it is. I just personally don't like it, but I don't need relatable versions or modernized versions or anything like that. Let it be what it is.
Yo, cuz, you sleeping with my girl.
They like it.
I love her.
Yeah, no.
Till death do me part.
We don't need that. But we're caught up. Unless you want to talk about, have you been playing anything interesting? My backlog is crazy.
Stellar Blade, Tales of Kinzera, loving that. A Quiet Place, all on stream, which is twitch.tv/Pandorum_X. But I'm starting to learn that people on this side don't have Twitch, so moving on from that. But it's there if you want it. But yeah, no, the games are good. Trying to think. Nothing new on the horizon. Just trying to work with what I've got. I almost popped in Crime Boss the other day, but I was like, let me just work on what I have immediately in front of me. But we'll see.
All right. So let me pull up the shot clock. I don't think we'll need it today because for a little backstory, this episode was supposed to be around the beginning of February. Yeah, the beginning of February. So it was going to be themed. It was going to be about specific things, but time has passed. It's still going to be about those things, but it's not as crazy cool into it.
Okay.
But so we'll dive into that. So it was going to be about Valentine's Day. How was your Valentine?
It was good. I went to go see Brave New World.
You being in a relationship. So you guys went on a movie night date?
It was like in the evening, but yeah. I feel like I'm being interrogated now.
Cool. No, you're not being interrogated. Well, I started this new forum, but it's just like, I'm gonna ask you stuff, and then I chime in with my own thing. I mean, we have to ask you when it comes to this topic because I'm not in a relationship. You're in a relationship. So when it comes to Valentine's Day, for me, I kicked it with one of my homegirls, who was like a sister to me.
Mm-hmm.
And we went to. She told me she took me to some Peruvian food spot, and we ate there. It was nice. I never had food from there before. And then I came to my house, and that was the day before I got sick. So I've been sick for like the last 2 weeks, but that was the day before I got sick.
You got sick the day after Valentine's Day?
Not to say that the food or anything like that got me sick. ended up with the flu.
Peruvian restaurant stocks just drop.
But yeah, nah, I mean, because the way it sounds like, yeah, you went to go eat there, then you got sick. Nah, I caught the flu.
Should have just stuck with the cheeseburger, man. That's a hood classic.
But yeah, no, I kicked it with my homegirl and whatever. But no, we're not together. It's like my sister. You're in a relationship, so that's why I have to defer to you on the topic. How was your Valentine?
It was great.
Because I was gonna be like, how was it for you? And also, what do you think about Valentine's Day in general?
Okay, so this really put me on the spot here. It's a commercial holiday, so it overall it does not like if a Valentine's Day passes for me, whether I'm with someone or not, it's not a big deal. But it's just kind of like hey, here's a day that specifically focuses on this aspect of the human condition. And you can either choose to play into it or you can choose not to. You chose to play to it platonically, which I think is really cool. Because remember, people, you can have female friends the same way females who don't play games, important distinction, who don't play games, can have male friends. Okay, there's nothing wrong with having healthy social relationships. And if you want to, let's say, polish that, you can use Valentine's Day as a way to honorate that. So that's what I chose to do. I was at work, going through some of like payroll stuff, and my family wants to do this trip in June, like the first week of June. So I ended up seeing that my birthday is on a Monday this year. So I was like, okay, cool. I'll already be off of work most likely. So I don't have to worry about getting the vac time for that. Now, I had just came off of a vacation in January, so I already cashed in on 40 hours. So I was in this process of building up my hours again. And then here's Valentine's Day on the 14th. So I was just kind of like, I never took it off. Because it's either I'm always working on that day or I'm off on that day, but I've got stuff that I need to do or I want to get done. So it's just a commercial holiday. It doesn't really mean anything to me. I can show love to someone 364 days of the year, and take one break on the V-Day. So I was just kind of like, oh, but it's our first time. Why not? I'm the type of guy that will do like anniversaries for some pretty obscure stuff. Like, oh, this is the first anniversary of when we had like texted, right? Like, I know that we had met January 17th at 12:18 a.m. That type of like specifics. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do something for this one. It might not be like that every single Valentine's for whatever reason, but I don't know. When it's the first of something, I do treat it a bit more like I wanna have a good start with this, and then I do it. And I think it was fun. It was fun. Went to the movies, went to the mall, all that jazz. So yeah, I would say overall success.
That's good. So it's like you do it because if it has significant meaning to you, because it's your guys' first one together and stuff like that, and you celebrate it. You made time to celebrate it. This time around, made the effort.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And then if I have plans for another one down the road, I'll plan for that again. I'm in a bit of a weird spot because it's like we had like our friendship anniversary, and then there was Valentine's Day, and then I think I'm pretty much in a break period until June 10th, which is when I asked her out. So I'm
okay.
Financially I'm spaced. At least with her. With my family, I still get hit like 5 months back to back. So it's like 5 to 6. Yeah.
You know how you know how it is with your family. But yeah. No. Okay. So that's the day after your birthday, ain't it? Y'all's relationship anniversary.
It is. And the best part about it is that it was unexpected.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so me personally, when it comes to Valentine's Day, so like let me preface this by saying like a lot of like ideals, thoughts, things that I have is like from childhood, growing up, and like that. I'm not gonna say like trauma or anything like that.
Oh my love.
Me personally, I don't believe in Valentine's Day, and I'm gonna say why. It's because For me, and I got a homeboy who's kind of like this too. But for me personally, I the type of person that if I'm in a relationship, I do things on like a whim. Like if I'm thinking like, oh yeah, I'm in the store and I see something like if they're into like I don't know like plushies or whatever keychain, key charms or this that whatever, and I see it and they want that books, whatever the case may be, I'll grab it for them. If I know they've been wanting something and they haven't been able to get it, I'll grab it. Same thing, same way with my friends, family, whatever. If they're into something, I can see it. If I can do it for them, I do it for them, whatever, all year round and whatnot.
Nice,
But
nice.
for me, what I ended up seeing when I was like younger, and even some as like a young adult or whatever, I see a lot of people in relationships, and like I know a lot of people who play around, dudes who play around. Well, mostly dudes that play around because Valentine's Day is, let's be honest, more slanted for like the guys to do for the girls. But I'm not saying women don't do for guys. I know there are women who do for guys. My mother's woman, um, on Valentine's Day and whatever. But generally, you know, it's more slanted. So I know a lot of guys who like 364 days of the year aren't really doing anything for their relationship. And then because Valentine's Day is the big public showing day or whatever the case may be, um, they do one thing, they go all out, they take them off to some place and have it all decorated and make a day and make a big showing of it or whatever. Get them the big bear and flower display and yada yada.
I'd be like,
And then
listen,
they
I need
put
to
it
see when
on.
I back my car up.
And they put it on social media and oh look what he did for me, this not or whatever, and then you be sitting there thinking like, man, every other day this person be crying about how this one is not doing this, how they feeling disrespected with that, cheating, beating, this, that, whatever. And then on the one day on the public day they do it and it's like, oh, look at what they did for me. They really did show me a lot. So to me, as somebody who does it 364, I choose to ignore that day because it's like,
So you're saying
this is the day
it
that.
feels more performative than actually like authentic?
So yeah, but
Okay.
to put my own personal thing on it, it's like I don't really want to be in the same category as those people, or feel like I have to show out on the same day that these people are coming through because I do it off the strength. You know what I mean? I do it
Mm-hmm.
every other day. I do it all the other time. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? But these people are gonna come out on this day because they're like, yeah, I know if I ain't nothing, throughout the rest of the year, if I don't come through on this day, it's gonna look real bad. So let me make sure I at least got my stuff together on this day.
Which
And
is
they
crazy
pop
to
out
think
on
because
that day.
it's like who's gonna know? Other than like I guess the paranoia that comes with you thinking that, not you specifically, but just the person in general, like them thinking that like, oh, if I don't do this thing, like my peers are not gonna like. It's like what? I don't know. It's just like this
And that's the
internal
thing.
like
It's
just
the
race with
it's
yourself.
the public pressure. It's like the pressure of like everybody's got it because it's kind of like if and I get it because it's kind of like for the other person's perspective, they'd be like, oh, look at everybody around the office or everybody around the thing is getting cards and getting flowers from there, or they got dates, they got plans to go out, this, that, and whatever. And I've always been like, because, my mother will be like, well, this and that, or whatever. What are you going to say if your girl says that? I'd be like, look, all these other days when you going on and they're not, or all these other times when you're getting stuff and they're not, or whatever. Like, first of all, it shouldn't be a contest. You done messed up if you comparing your relationship to somebody else's relationship. That's mistake number one right
Yep.
there. But that aside, it's like, like I said, if I was the type of person that doesn't do it or whatever, I don't pay you no mind, then all right. But if I'm doing it all the other time and this and that, I just choose not to do that day because I know that all of the deadbeats and non proper relationship functioning people will pop out on that day just to be like, see, now you can publicly display how much I love you and that you look just as good as everybody else and blah blah blah. I don't want to be involved in that. I don't want to have to feel like I'm why do we have to keep up with them?
It's
So I'm
actually
just
funny because
against
like
like the idea in general.
even
That
though you aren't specifically doing that, just by simply like stepping out of the house and showcasing your affection for your person of choice. It feels like you're already like submitting to the idea by admission. Use me for example, right? Like I went out and did what I had to do, right? Now I know I do what I have to do
Mm-hmm.
when it's not Valentine's Day. But then it's like if I still take her out on Valentine's Day, nobody knows of the progresses and the finances and the gifts that I had done previously, right? And it's not their business. I don't make it known. I don't parade it, you know? But then here comes Valentine's Day where it's like someone might think that that's my first outing for that, right? But it's just like I wouldn't know that. And if I spent more time trying to think about the back and forth of like what does that person think that I did if I think that they know what I think they know. It's like how was your Valentine's Day? Well, I spent it like self-imploding. Like I don't deal with that. I woke up, I said my prayers, I brushed my teeth, I picked her up, we went to a movie, end the story. You know, I definitely get what you're saying, and it's such a crazy like just paradox and a conundrum that you can just destroy yourself thinking of. But like I'm pretty sure there's people like this who have no real discipline to social media, and they let that thing just moderate how they internalize their own feelings, and it just messes them up every single time. Like I don't feel the need to put in my like Facebook status, right, that I'm in a relationship with someone. Like it's not their business. It's not their business, but I do it because there are certain things in a relationship that I can, you know, give and take on, maybe just kind of sit down for. But it's just like when it comes to like bigger things where it's like, oh, if we do this activity, we have to do a press tour about it. It's like, no, I already do that with Twitch. I already do that with YouTube. I already do that with, heck, making ads for stories to say what I'm going to be doing later in the evening. Like I'm not trying to make my life a media stint, you know? So I have a certain level of discipline when it comes to social media where I'm like, I will let it do this much of my life and my tellings. But then when like the deal gets for real and there's things that I got to get done, there's no reason to put that on there. You know, it's like if let's say got into a car crash, God forbid, my first thought is to not pull out my phone and start recording for likes and clicks and engagement.
Right.
I don't know why people want to use tragedy to bolster themselves, other than the fact that they're just mid at best, right? Or they feel that like the stuff that they're putting out there isn't as good as the people they think they want to be at. Thankfully, you, myself, and other people, right, who don't feel the need to do a whole rah-rah for it, can just kind of stay in their corner and not feel guilty for just doing something that we all should normally do, which in this case is loving your partner and showing that you care about them. So yeah, interesting take for your end about, you know, people wanting to be showboaty about it.
Yeah, no, I mean, and like I said, I get it, because no, from your thing too, where it's just like yours is like special, and it's not. That's why I said like for your situation, I wouldn't even be like talking about it, obviously, because it's like you're doing it for your own reasons, or if you just happen to go out on a day or whatever the case. Honestly, Valentine's Day was like I said, I took my homegirl out, came back to the crib. Parents wanted Chinese food, so I drove over to Quincy, picked them up their Chinese food, came back to the crib, gave them their Chinese food. I spent it doing for other people. You know what I'm saying? Like Valentine's Day is not really because I don't about this, I don't really care about it. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't. It's nothing to me. So it's like but these people who they want things, they celebrate. They sure I'll facilitate and help you guys out, whatever the case may be, and stuff like that. You doing it, to celebrate with your girl for it's y'all's first time together. But like you said, you didn't make a big fuss about it. You guys went to the shop and kicked it with each other. Fine, you know what I'm saying? But the people who do the big showy things because it's the only time that they really get something, or they're so obsessed with, show. We're in that day and age where it's like everything needs to be broadcasted, everything needs to be shown and shared, and whatever that you don't really have private moments really that much anymore. And even if you do, somebody wants to make it public. But it's that like phenomenon that really always kind of like rubbed me the wrong way. And also again getting into like it may be my perception of it, but like how it seems to be slanted to like I ask a lot of my guy friends, I'm like, yo, would you give a Valentine's Day? And they're like, either the obvious answer or it's nothing. And I'm like, okay, what did you give for Valentine's Day? And they're like, oh, I did it, and I'm like, huh.
Oh yeah. Well, it's
You see
kind of
what I
weird
mean?
because like so you're absolutely right by saying it's slanted towards men commercially to like be the one to like, for its simplest terms, be the spender, right? And then you have the woman who's the receiver, but then her version of what the guy would do would be to publicize that, which again, I don't think it's right, but like it's like this is our role in this particular instance, and then this is their role. And it is I don't want to say it's weird because like ever since the internet has started, the internet has rewarded users for engagement that is considered like I think it's salacious. Salacious might not be the right word for this case, but the point is if it's enticing, if it's drama filled, if it's, what's going on over here, the internet rewards that type of behavior. And one of the reasons why, going way back to like when we started this podcast, it was like, we're not talking about people, we're not doing drama, we're not doing like controversial topical whatevers, right? Because like to me that's blood money. That's like we just want to see like what the drama is. So it was kind of like the 10 commandments, or I guess in my case the 3 in my head, about like when running something, because I know that that's the type of conversation that it can potentially invite. And I'm already doing enough right now in my life where like I don't want to have to deal with that, because this is just a podcast that my friend had an idea for. We have a platform, we have a channel, we went off and we did it, right? We're not out here trying to like rock a boat, yet alone flip it over. So, and we're not saying that to be like, oh, we're not going to talk about anything, right? If we come across things that we're passionate about, right, because we do talk about things that we are passionate about, hence the Rant-A-Way, we'll go for it. But it's like to say that like, oh, we are a channel, or this is our position as a channel to talk about other people and kick them while they're down, or anything that feels like, again, what's going on up here? What's more interesting than what's going on in my life right now that I can then spread to other people? Right. I don't like that. That's why, at least the way I run my channel, I don't do what everyone else is doing, or I try not to follow the same trend more than once, because it will invite a certain conversation about you. So the fact that, going back to Valentine's Day, the men feel that like, oh, I have to do all of these things just to show other people who I did not ask to be like, I'm one of the good ones, I think is just ridiculous. I did it because it was on my heart to do so. I did it because I wanted to do it, right? I asked her out, not a billion strangers. Or as someone else put it, I sleep with you, not with them. So I just keep that in the back of my mind. And again, if somebody really wants to like confront you on like the idiosyncrasies of like why men do these things on Valentine's Day and why women do these things on Valentine's Day or whatever in the relationship, and they feel that strongly about it, where it's like, I need to parade all these things that I have done, then I'm sorry to tell you, either your relationship is going to fail in the future, be it far or near, it's going to happen at some point. Run from it, dread from it, failure will arrive all the same, and then you have the people who are like, I want to do this because they have a more positive experience with Valentine's Day or gift exchange. I heard you had said trauma earlier, but I know that when some people hear trauma, they think of just the worst, right? Sometimes it's just like, it could just be a bad experience or a really good experience, but good experience probably wouldn't be deemed as trauma. But like, the way I look at it, if it puts a groove in your brain on those mental pathways of remembrance, then like that could be a bad trauma, or in this case, a good trauma. So
exactly, yeah.
It's definitely coming down to the person individually about how they view these type of commercial holidays. But is a lot of that thought backed up by the influence of all these different medias? Absolutely. And it's going to be onto the person whether they play into that or not. I didn't do what I did because I wanted to look good for social media. I did it because I love her and I want to have fun, and it's the right thing to do, because it's just kindness, right? It's like saying, oh, I don't believe in Valentine's Day. Okay, that's cool, but like, do you still believe in like empathy for your kin? Yeah, cool. Oh, I don't believe in God. Okay, but can I still say God bless you if you sneeze? Because like, I'm just doing it with the intent to wish you well because your heart stopped for a minute when you went achoo. Like, and then if you say no to that, it's like, okay, well, you're being a stick in the mud, and You can, again, if that's what you want to be, that's your prerogative. But don't be surprised in further instances of your life if you feel unfulfilled in certain things, or you feel left out, or you feel like you can't find your equal because you don't want to engage in anything, because you have a particular perception about it and what everyone else is doing. It's like you can focus on everyone else, but you can't focus on yourself. You got to find a spot in the middle and then be able to work through that. But people who are like, I'm not going to do this because of what these people do. It's like, okay, like you're in this fishbowl like everyone else. So it's either you're going to play nice or you're not going to play at all. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I get it, because I'm sure at some point in my life I was like that too, but it was just like, at some point it was just like, dude, like, get over yourself. Just go have fun. Go live your life. Because then when you're 80 in a hospital bed and you're like, oh gosh, what have I done? You know, like that's going to hit you hard because you're going to feel like you wasted it. So have fun, live and learn, go eat chocolate, go see Captain America Brave New World.
Yeah, no, you should definitely do your own thing. On the trauma. I mean, technically, would it be the right word, or could I say, yeah, based on trauma or whatever, like childhood trauma? I mean, not really, because it wasn't really. But you're right when they say like,
yeah, when people say
trauma is usually
trauma, everyone
associated with like,
instantly jumps
it's like
to the
it's like
negative. Yeah.
PTSD. Like they see like explosions and like, oh my gosh, it's left such a deep scar on you, and it's like, nah, it's not quite that deep, but I mean, it's like, yeah. So what I used to say is I used to be like, whenever, because I mean it's basically my mother's the biggest person to like, challenge me on my ideals and stuff like that, and I need that. But it's like, she'd be like, all right, well, then, what would you do? I'd be like, look, I'd be like, I give them the option. I'd be like, listen, does Valentine's Day mean that much to you that you must celebrate it because everybody else is celebrating it, or can we think? Because I mean, like I said, I do things on the whim, and it could be like, all right, well, we could celebrate Valentine, or we could celebrate the day before Valentine's Day. We could celebrate the day after Valentine's Day, or other days, whatever the case may be, and whatever. Just not Valentine's Day, because I just don't want to buy into all of that and go bananas on this day just because it said that you're supposed to go bananas on this day. That's what everybody says that you're supposed to do. That's what you think you're supposed to do. That's what you be programmed to do. But if it means that much to you, where you're gonna throw a big stink because you didn't get something on February 14th, then all right, I'll celebrate Valentine's Day with you. But I'm just not, you know what I mean? Like if there's that much, then I'm just not gonna do things on the whim. Then since you just want, you're that focused, you're hyper focused on this day. It means that much to you, because it kind of makes me feel like you're in it for the whole show of it. You know what I mean?
And if, like, again, people,
That
if you're in
you
it for
have
the
to have it
show,
on that day.
reevaluate. Like if you really genuinely feel whatever for this person that you've picked, but you're in it for the glitz and glamour of it, reevaluate. Because the people who are like that aren't gonna live. Excuse me, not gonna live. Their relationship is not going to live as long. But maybe it's like that by design. Maybe it separates the wheat from the chaff.
Possibly, yeah. It could be that kind of thing. I mean, no, I think it's more just about commercial, because that's what I'm saying. Hey, we was walking around that day, or driving around that day. On every corner you go to, you see people selling, roses. And I mean, sure, every once in a blue moon, you'll see people selling flowers. I seen a guy selling flowers, I think yesterday when I was driving around. It's like, okay, cool. But on that day, every corner had somebody selling flowers and this and that or whatever, selling bears, this and that or whatever. And they're hustling. I get it. Of course,
Oh
I'm never
yeah,
gonna knock
like
anybody's hustle.
they're definitely gonna
But
snatch up the normative market that will play
yeah,
into
they,
that.
they they ramp it up to 11, and I was watching a news report talking about, yeah, people are expected to spend, I don't know, something $1 billion on Valentine's Day gifts and this and that, and it's like, a lot of that is gonna be men trying to, go above and beyond and this and that or whatever, and it's just like, yo, like, see what I'm saying? This is what it is. It just feels like, and maybe it's the rebellious streak in me too, because I do kind of have that, where it's just like, yeah, they tell you, you're supposed to, and if you don't, they try to make you feel like lesser than and whatever. And I'm just like, nah, I'm not going for that. You're trying to
Yeah,
tell me that I have to
advertisement
do
does
this
have a
and that or
very
whatever.
dark side to it, and I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. It does feel like that, but then after a while, you're just kind of like, you can't tell me what to do. I'm gonna do it because I want to, and then you just end up doing it. Did I get a PlayStation 5 because all of them got scalped and Sony was like, you got to have this if you want to have the best place to play. No, I still have more PS4 games than I do PS5 games. So I got it because it was time to upgrade my old equipment. I valued the business side of it in that instance before I pulled out my card, and there it is. That's just how it is
But
sometimes
see,
for people.
Even that, like you see me, I went and was like, nah, because I already when it came to the thing, I'm a jiggy. And sorry for the casual people who don't rock with the video games, but when it came to the three, the PS3 was going to the 4, and I got the 4 early, and I was like, all right, I got the 4 because I wanted to play, a specific game or whatever. But then that one game gets played, and then you're like, all right, well, there's nothing else on the 4 for me to play or whatever, so I'm going back to the 3 or the 360 and whatever. And the 4 is over there sitting there collecting dust because I'm like, I don't really have any games for it. Why the heck did I spend? I think it was like 400 when it first came. Why did I spend 400 on this right away when I could have just waited? And I don't really have anything else to play. I'm on the PS3 and the 360 more than I'm on the new thing. So when it came time to do the 5, and I mean, COVID threw a big wrench in the works, but I mean, when it came time to do the 5, I was like, I'm not going for the okie doke this time. I'm going to get a PC so that I can get games on the PC, and I can get the PS5 when I'm ready. And again, COVID kind of threw a wrench in the spanner, so it didn't quite work out the way I was hoping for that to work out, because you couldn't get a 5 anyway unless you was going to pay like $800, $1,000, or there just wasn't enough supply to meet the demand in the first place. But that was the planning, where it was just like, yeah, I'm not gonna upgrade when you're telling me you want me to upgrade. I'm gonna upgrade when I'm ready to.
Yeah, and
So it's like
I think that's what's gonna separate you from, as a well-informed consumer to someone who is not well informed, right? Like, we're all consumers, but you can be moderate about what you're consuming, right? Like, we all eat food, but people can be mindful about how many calories they're putting into their body, right? Some people do it by checking it through their watch. Some people do it with a pen and paper. Some people do it by make that half a sandwich instead of a full. And then some people just go like, you know what? I'm eating the whole restaurant the minute I wake up till the sun sets. And just by those actions alone, it's going to just automatically separate you from different groups and factions of people. You didn't want to buy it when the industry told you to, so you bought it when it was more fitting for you, right? Because you know what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. Sony doesn't know what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. They don't know that you have 3 bills due the day before they drop their $600 console. And even if they did, they don't care, because the point of their goal of their job is to sell a product. Your goal in life is to make sure that you never go into the red and find yourself on the street, all while still trying to be a son, a family man, someone's uncle, someone's whatever, right? Like we have more roles in our lives than we realize, and most people don't really figure that out until like the suicide happens or some terrible tragedy. So like, yeah, like, you're absolutely right in saying that. You do it when you want to, and you don't want to feel like you're forced to. And I get it. I get exactly where you're coming from. Sometimes it does feel like the more you think about it, right? Like, when you really get into the rabbit hole of it, you do feel like your hopes, your dreams, your goals, your aspirations were actually put in there by a system that you just automatically admissioned yourself to when you were born. And it's just like, now that you're old enough to articulate why you agree or don't agree with certain things, versus you being under the tutelage of your parents when like you were a kid, you're just kind of like, yeah, like I want to do this like on my own, right? It's like, wow, I finally got a car, right? But then it's like, insurance, what do I need insurance for? Like, I'm gonna be okay, right? But it's for the other person, really. Or excise tax, right? It's just like, it's all of these extra pieces that need to be put under the structure that you'll never see, but it's because of those structures that building will never fall, right? Unless something crazy happens. and I think more people have to reevaluate those type of things in their life, because if they don't, if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything, right?
You'll fall for anything.
It's just like, you gotta have core values and foundational beliefs that's going to help you guide yourself through the life that you're living. But obviously people are having a hard time doing that because they're so mindful of the other, where it's like, oh, your feelings matter. And trust me, they do matter. But there's going to be certain crossroads with things that are objective and things that are subjective. And you have to figure out which one are you going to value more in those instances when those conversations do pop up. And I think you'd be better off for it.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, you know, like I said, I mean, I get it, and everybody's got, as you know, I feel like it's kind of like, you know, as long as you have your own reasoning and you're not just going like, yeah, well, you know, it's Valentine's Day, man, I got to. It's like, no, you don't. Like, you know, if you got your reason where you want to do it, you're doing it for you, or, you know, you have your own tie to it, just like I got my own kind of like little tie against it, or whatever the case may be. Then you know it is what it is. I think more times than not, I'm just out here making sure people are operating for more reasons than, well, you know, I'm supposed to, da 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 da. Somebody told me I had to, or da 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 da. You know, like that. Then okay, you know, okay, yeah, I won't mess with you. You know, you got your own standing behind it. But if you don't, then it's kind of like, I don't know, man. But yeah, no. In terms of that, that's generally how I
Yeah,
look
you
at it.
got you
I
got to
don't
be able
really like
to
the,
like you got to be able to like stand for your own. And like if we're looking at it just for like
like
the
you said, yeah,
men's side of things,
stand for
like
something,
you
or
gotta
fall for anything.
yeah, you gotta stand for something that like you adamantly believe in, right? Now again, if that's something really wholesome and really good, then there's also an equal and opposite trade-off where it could be something really, really bad. But at least you have an objective, right? You have an anchor. And it could be that one
Exactly.
thing that could spurt off into something else, right? Like, oh, I have to have independence, right? What does that look like? What does that look like to you? Bullet point it, follow it through to its logical or most extreme conclusions, and then operate with what you can in that space. I want to have independence, so I need to have things where I can just come and go. Okay, what are some things that can let you do that? A job, a car, structured income, like, right? Like, it's like, again, everyone's going through something different, but we're all going through the same thing. Like, the situation for every human being is the same, but the order at which they come is different for everyone. And it's on to you as a human being to figure that out while either meeting new people along the way, coming across new ideologies, perspectives. Surrounding yourself with multiple perspectives is going to help you see the picture much more clearly and much more openly versus you just going like, well, I'm not doing this because I'm only seeing the negative side of something. Like Instagram has been on this crazy kick with sending out a lot of in my eyes, inappropriate content about like, you know, people getting killed or people getting hurt, people getting shot. Now, I don't know if this is because I work in a police department specifically, but I get a lot of like bad cop interactions, right? But it's not going to change the way I experience my time on this platform, right? Because I have enough know-how to how to moderate this stuff. But on certain days, right, the algorithm is just gonna just massively do something goofy and give you something that is just not in your wheelhouse. But I'm not gonna use it as a moment to be like, oh my gosh, I can't do this anymore. I'm gonna post pictures about this and it's like, no, stop. Take a breath, go outside, look at the sun, pull out your phone, try again, right? Funny story. I had someone that thought that their channel was gonna get banned, and instead of like reporting it to like admins, they changed their profile picture to black. They changed their name to, well, it was fun while it lasted. And I'm sitting there like, dude, are you okay? Like, what's going on? And they told me what was happening, and I was like, okay, do you have receipts? Do you have the proof, right? When did this message come in, right? And I'm looking at it and I'm going, oh yeah, this is a scam, but if you didn't click anything, you're fine. Oh, are you sure? Yeah. Because when a scammer asks for this, that, and the third, these are the ways that they go about it. And this person is not doing that. And there's a lot of typos and there's no links, right? They're formed like links, but then when you make it an actual like message to go out there, it doesn't convert into a link. And if you didn't click on anything, they don't have anything on you. You're fine. Right. Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. Can you change your name back to normal, please, and stop making a spectacle about it? Like people do this thing because they're just like, do you see me? Do you see what I'm doing? Does anyone out there care? Hello? It's like, stop. just do it because you want to do it. Take pride in honoring yourself, you know? And I think that social media has gotten people to that point where it's like, oh, if I do this thing, how is the other person going to perceive it? And it's like there's some people who just really, really care about that these industries placate off of because they know that it's just easy money glitch. But to people like you and myself, it's like we don't care. I get a strawberry refresher every day because that drink satisfies me. I don't get it because I'm trying to live a moxie life. I get it because, one, I'm thirsty, and I like the feeling that drink gives me, right? It feels like a summertime drink. When I'm done working my 40 hours or my 80 hours as of late, and I clean my car at the end of the week because that's my tradition, and I get my strawberry refresher and I sit on my park bench and the sun hits that car just right, oh yeah, I did that. You know what I mean? I don't need any other person's validation. Now, I know that comes organically, right? By just simply doing these things. But am I waking up to say, I'm going out to do these things for these other people? No. Because no one cares at the end of the day. Nobody cares that you're blasting A$AP Rocky at a park light and then you bolt off at 0 to 60. Now, if you feel like, oh, they're going to think I'm so cool because I hit it, it's like, okay, cool, that's your prerogative, but I don't think those people are going to remember you in like 3 years. And if they do, cool.
No, they're not even, they're probably not even going to remember you in 3 hours. But I mean, like, you know.
So,
yeah, it's set up. It's set up these days.
Just
for a lot
just
of,
reevaluate it, guys, if you have to, right? Not a bad thing. Just reevaluate. What do you value in this life that you're living? Are you happy with yourself? Are you happy with the people in your lives? Are they doing good, right? Maybe you could be I don't want to say tool, because I know people take that like, I don't want to be a beta male, but it's like, who'd you hear that from? Andrew Tate. So you're listening to another man tell you how to be a man. Beta. So it's like, just try to just be this is very simple, but just try to be a good person. Just try to be that guy or woman that is mindful of others, compassionate, kind, courteous, and like, life will just naturally open doors for you. My friend and I are more so religious, right? But if we had to look at it in like the cosmic sense, what you put out is what you're gonna get back in. So if you're giving out good vibes to the world, man, it's already gonna work itself out. You just have to trust in the process, and a part of that process is yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. Just be yourself at the end of the day. I mean, yourself is in like, because, excuse me, a lot of people will say like, well, I'm trying to be good. But I mean, if you're good, you don't really got to try. Try in the sense of like, you're doing something that you don't normally do. You could try to be better and get better and, try to do the right thing and stuff like that. But, a lot of that would like be in you, or you would format yourself where those things are like in you. So it's like, be yourself, do the things that you would do. And if that's like, if it is in you to, celebrate these things, celebrate holidays, give into these. I mean, I know they got like a bunch. There's National Girlfriend's Day, National Boyfriend's Day,
oh Lord,
Valentine's Day. And I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's when they're like, the people sit there like, we get money on Valentine's Day, so we do more love themed thingamajiggies. We get this, and now you got this day and that day, and all of this stuff, and everybody has a day and whatever. It makes them all not mean as much, but it's like, yeah, it becomes very commercial wise or whatever. So I respect the people who are like, yeah, you know what, for Valentine's Day, I make something, or my significant other makes something and we give it to each other. We do things, little small, little, unorthodox kind of like celebrations or whatever, instead of just rushing to the store and spending $100 on flowers, and then $20 on chocolate, and then $50 on stuffed animal, whatever. You just store got $200 from you, and whatever. But different things. Or we make clothes, or we do this, or we do that, or we go to this spot or that spot. Like, I can get down with stuff like that, but just to buy the book, or I'm just doing it because I'm supposed to, or I got, or this, that, or whatever. It's kind of like, as long as you're doing it, you're doing it for something you believe in, standing for something and not falling for anything.
Yeah.
You're doing it like that, then I can get behind stuff like that. But bouncing off of that, and then you also mentioned like the scams and other things like that. And also just certain divides, and you brought up Andrew Tate and whatever. I was gonna ask you, because bouncing off of the love side of Valentine's Day and just love in general. The other side of that is like, these days, that you hear things they say, like stuff like, dropping like marriages and birth rates and stuff like that, and loneliness epidemics has been thrown out there, loneliness and being singles at an all-time high, the connection between men and women failing, people not showing up to dating events and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about the modern day divide between like men and women, and you know, women choosing bears over men, and
Well, I mean,
men not
it
wanting to date.
definitely stems back to that whole like the other like what is the other person thinking about the action that I'm about to take? Like that has happened so many times, and it's happened so much in just social media, and it's marketed to be that way so much that the way that the average person is conditioned to think about an action they're about to take can't be done without 100 other people deciding for them. So like perfect example, Google's AI program Gemini had an advertisement where basically it does something as simple as like, what's the difference between these two colors, right? And then the Gemini system will do what they got to do. But then there's a part later on in the commercial where there's this girl that's like, how do I respond to my friends that I don't want to go to this dinner date? But her friends are right in front of her. Like they're at the restaurant. They're already together, and she's on her phone asking an AI program what to do to the friends in front of her for a date that she does not want to commit to. Why does a phone need to be in that interaction when the people that you're trying to use the AI to interact with is right there in front of you? It's like we go to the movies, okay? We go to Jurassic Park or whatever, and we go, oh, the movie's finished. And you go, oh, that was pretty good. And then I go, hey, Bixby, what should I tell my friend Money Green about this movie that I just watched? And I sit there awkwardly for a minute and 50 seconds as this algorithm tries to generate a college level dissertation about a first impression to a movie that we just saw. That's still 10 seconds fresh in our mind. Now multiply that by all these different factions about telling you how you should love somebody. And then you have so many options of choice that you're paralyzed by it. And I look at that and go, how is that healthy? At some point, you can read up on everything. You can get all these different perspectives and opinions, but at some point, you got to be the one to do it. I can read day and night about all these books about cameras and lenses and focal lengths and how to stream and how to do a channel. But at some point, I got to press play. I got to go live. I got to hit record. I got to open up a software. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to be able to be upon yourself to do it. And if you don't, you're going to be book smart, but you're not going to be street smart. And I think a lot of people are in that range of like, I'm gonna say book smart with a lowercase b, but it's just like they're so privy to the anticipation of the backhand that they don't know what to do when the swing comes through and how to recoil from that. So it's actually funny too, because I think it was the last podcast we had, and I had said something, and you was like, "Oh, you're watching that Fresh and Fit," and now I didn't know what you was talking about, right? But I was doing something later that week.
The Don DeMarco
thing. Yeah. So I had said that, which I have heard from rap battles, because that's like one of my guilty pleasures, right? When I was in high school, and I'd come across that soundbite again, so it was kind of funny. So I'd added it to my lexicon every now and then. But then you would say what you said. I looked up what you said, and then I was just kind of like, oh, like my initial reaction was, I hope he doesn't think I'm associated with this type of stuff. Right? Because like I don't watch these type of things, right? I've seen these things in clips and like memes and like segments, but the full story of it, I don't know what they're talking about. It's like what's that guy that's always getting mad at the other rappers? He's bald.
Joe Budden,
yeah.
Budden.
It's like I've only seen his things in just sliced moments, right? And context does matter, but unless I'm willing to see what that context is, I don't care for it, you know? I remember like one time I was doing like a long grind in a video game, and I was like, all right, I need to put something on in the background, right? Because I got to get this done. And you had sent me a clip about one of his rants. So that recommended me a video that was like 2 hours long. So I was like, all right, whatever, like we ball. I put it on, dude, it felt so overtly negative, and I couldn't help but think what is going through this man's mind as he's wondering what's going through other people's minds viewing him. And it was just this weird feeling of just bleh, like this is quote unquote content. This is what people, you know, like subscribe for, click into their apps for to see, and it's just like, I don't know, it's just not my cup of tea. So I don't subscribe to it. So with this whole like, you know, would you pick man or bear, or this is how you should treat your, it's like you don't need other people to tell you how to treat other people with decency and kindness. If you do everything that you're supposed to do, you're following your rules, you're having those days where maybe you'll break the rule or two, give that person an eye wink to be like, hey, listen, like, we all play by the rules. But there are some days where you can let those rules work in your favor. I think you're going to be better off. But having all these different people in your ears about how you should feel, what you should do, buy my book, subscribe to this channel to get the secrets of life, like, bro, the best things in life are free. People just want to make it super duper extra complicated because they want to feel validated that they were the person to be like, oh, I went through the trials and tribulations just to be here. So you did it because you want to have bragging rights over somebody, as opposed to you just wanting to teach that other person because it's the right thing to do. When that person thought that their channel was going to get all kaput, I didn't berate them. I just said, here's what you should do. Here's what I'm going to tell you to do because this is going to put you back in the clear. But then I need you to do these things after because you're going to be better off. But maybe next time, let's not do it in this way because of the optics, right? Now, again, if he wanted that much attention that he was willing to do a whole spectacle about his account, then again, that's his prerogative. But if I come into his life or her life and tell her or him, hey, this is my advice on this particular thing, and then I go about my day, and you choose to hear that advice and either discard it or abide by it, anything else that happens after, you have no excuses to feign ignorance. And people, and at least on my side of the world, do that so openly that it's just baffling. Why did this person like me? I don't know, maybe because you slung their name through the mud on social media, but then when you're off the phone, you want to treat them like they're your king or queen. It's just like, if you're going to be like that in person, you got to keep that same energy online and vice versa.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because nobody likes a surprise, at least a bad one, And I don't know, those, and again, this is just what comes to my mind when I see stuff like this, when I hear stuff like this. Like, I never found myself listening to, like, the MGTOW crews or the, black pill, blue pill rip, like, too many pills to keep up with, and I drink my medicine. I don't take pills. Tylenol, don't bring it my way. I got a headache. You have some ibuprofen? No, not me. So I just again, I'm trying to be mindful of all these different things that pop up and crop up, because if you don't educate yourself, you will become swindled by it, right? If you're not paying attention. So like there is some level of like, okay, what's going on over here? But am I waking up and going to bed every single day trying to get as much of this content as I can get? No, because if I know it's not for me, or if it feels a certain way, I'm just like, I'm all set. Again, not to slander these people, just for examples. Synthetic Man, It's a Gundam, Critical Drinker. Like, I get your messages, but the delivery of it can be so harsh and negative sometimes that you actually turn off the people that you're trying to, I'll say, win to your side, since the internet is seen in absolutes, I guess. But it's just like, I've seen these channels coming up and I'm just kind of like, okay, I get what's going on. But then like after a while, you sit there for like extra episodes or, special announcements or whatever. And you're just kind of like, are you always like this? Or is this just for the camera? At some point you ask yourself those questions. And again, some people handle it better than me, whatever, right? But after a while, I'm just kind of like, all right, like I've seen enough of this, right? and I just kind of want to go back to like a positive environment. I'm still mindful of like the negativity that's out there, but like I know that the internet just can't be filled with negativity. Like there's got to be more to it. I know there's still good people out there, and we're gonna be okay if we all put our heads together, But like, I don't know, man. It's a crazy world out there.
So I got a lot to say on the thing, but let me just see if I understand. So you think that the divide is more about people losing their individuality and getting more wrapped up into like let's just say groupthink.
Yeah, they're getting wrapped up in groupthink. And again, it's kind of weird because like by getting wrapped up in that, you are you are basically donning a new personality. It's just that your personality is multiple. So I guess in a weird roundabout way, multiple personality disorder, but like we're not at that level. You know what I mean? Because it's just the person who's expressing different thoughts and ideologies based off of what they've seen, right? So it's always subject to change. The rate at which it does is unknown, but the most you'll know is that you can't talk to this person one day and then be like, okay, we agreed on this thing, and then literally by the end of that same day they're like, I have a different opinion about this now, and this is how I feel. And you can just feel that it feels visceral. It feels like there's more to it than just like the subject at hand. Like, I liked Brave New World because it was an entertaining movie, but then there was also other layers of like soldiers being tested on, like actual US soldiers in MK Ultra, and the African Americans that gave their bodies to science for the promise of, financial gain or insurance, and they were never given those things. It's basically the 40 acres and a mule's conversation all over again. And to see that in a modern day movie with a company that's known to be squeaky clean, at least for the most of my life with Disney as a brand, I was like, wow, this feels different for Disney, right? So that's why I liked the movie, right? But am I going to say, oh, Money Green didn't like this movie, so I'm going to just look at him completely differently as a person? It's like, if you have to use a piece of fiction that uses non-fictional elements to tell a story, and then take those things and apply it to a real life person as a way to get into a conversation, to talk to them about something else uncompletely related, I think you need to reevaluate. Like, the way I say it, it's not about it's not about the laundry. Like when you're folding the clothes and you're all like, hey, why are you folding them towels all angrily? What's going on? Right? It's not about the laundry. It's something else that's going on that needs to be discussed. And I think too many people are using these people, these identities, these channels as a way to mask the true intent, and they just can't come out and say it. Hey, I didn't like that you said this to me. I liked this movie, and the way you described it to me, and how you didn't like it made me feel a little bit bad or whatever, right? Now, in that case, we are now running into a conversation in a situation where, is it facts over feeling? Is it feelings over fact? Now, any average person who's well adjusted would say that this is a subjective matter, right? Because it's feelings, but you can still respect that person's feelings. But at the end of the day, you saw a movie, I saw a movie, and we came to two different interpretations of it, some closely than others, some just off kilter enough to be its own talking point. But we still had a conversation civilly, and it doesn't damage and break what came before it. And I think too many people today are getting caught up in all these different outcomes that haven't happened, may happen, close to happening, and trying to have that conversation. Look at it this way. Let's say we're in a hallway, okay? You're on the other end, I'm on the other end. And there's 12 doors. So there's 6 on each side. And in order for me to talk to you normally, I would just need to walk straight, do nothing else. But then you get those people that got to open the left door, the right door, third door up, fourth door up. They're still talking to you now, but their brain is so fragmented with just all these different things, these other voices, these other opinions, where it's just like, bro, all I ask is if you wanted some ice cream. Why are we talking about like the economical state of the world? You know what I mean? So I personally, while I have seen those type of videos, I've only seen so much of them where I'm like, all right, I know this isn't for me. And then I left because I have the authority to do that. Some people don't have the authority to do that, or some people are scared to do that, right? Because it is scary to operate on your own and walk to the beat of your own drum. But it is a leap of faith. You do, again, have to have confidence in yourself and believe that what you do, you're going to have enough know-how and insight to be able to take care of yourself if something does go south. But, that's just my relationship with the internet. I know that there are people out there that have, felt like the internet's a second family to them. Specific channels, right? The PewDiePies, the Markipliers, the Jacksepticeyes. And that's just from the video gaming side of things, right? I'm sure there's financial gurus out there that were inspired by Dave Ramsey, and they're on the path of succession because of his teachings, you know. But I think the internet as a whole has pushed grift and negativity, and that does it more than people who are just trying to be like, I just want to make a silly video, or I just wanted to make an informative video. Okay, does that answer your question? I know I ranted, but I'm so sorry.
Well, that's the point of the podcast, after all. So
this is the chill podcast.
I'm probably gonna eat the rest of the 30 minutes that we got left. But
oh Lord.
Yeah, no. So I agree in some aspects. I'm not gonna say that I disagree.
No, say you disagree.
Different...
Stand on your business.
No, I'm not gonna. Nah, because I don't disagree.
Fight me to the death.
I got a different take on it. Because I agree with most of what you said, and then to like, I guess I could say to expand on that, or to take that in another direction. I would say that I believe that what you said is true, in people losing their individuality. But I believe that they've arrived at that, or at least I know that myself and the circles that I travel in have arrived at that. They've arrived in that place where they're, getting into these group thinks or whatever out of a feeling of like frustration, not finding their own space to like belong, or properly explain how they feel inside, and so on and so forth. So what I'm saying is, like, for the longest time it's been a lot of frustration. Like, you get people who've been used by people, abused by people, who've been misled and deceived and hurt by people, and they don't have answers for why. They don't have answers for how. They can't figure out why these things are going on, how these things happen, whatever. So you have these people, and this leads into your point about grifting, but I'll say it's more of an exploitative nature on the internet, where you have these people like Fresh and Fit. You have these people like Andrew Tate. These are people that I wholeheartedly disagree with. They pop up and they try to exploit young minds, emotional minds. What's the word I'm looking for? Those ones that are, easy to manipulate, impressionable minds. They exploit those minds for their own financial gain, because I think you have to look at, what is it that they're trying to do? What is it that they're trying to teach? What is it that they're trying to get you to do? Are they trying to make you into a better person? Are they trying to, help you become things? And then what are they about? Are they practicing what they preach? None of those people I named are practicing what they preach. One of them used to be an internet pimp. The other two are on, sugar daddy sites, and whatever the case may be. So how can you
be an internet pimp?
And it's, well, you get women to do, webcams for you, and Andrew, he explained everything himself. So, and this is what I wanted to say. We're in the great day and age of information, right? Yeah. Anything you want to know is a couple of finger clicks, a Google search, Yahoo, Bing, whatever it is, you Wikipedia, whatever it is that you want to use, or where you get multiple answers, you get exact answers, you get, theories. They got video essays on everything that you could possibly want to know, pretty much. And it's all right there. If you wanted to look into who Andrew Tate is, if you wanted to look into who, Myron and the other one is, if you want to look into who these people are, what they do, whatever, it's all there. So, yeah, and he ran a webcam where he had these girls hop on the webcam, and they do their thing and whatever, and these guys are lining up and paying for it and whatever, and he's up there typing it or having somebody tell the girls what he wants them to say, and they say it, and they're getting all these dudes money and whatever. And yeah, he's gonna tell you about what you should and shouldn't do to be a real man or whatever. The guy used to exploit people for financial gain and to
it
put himself
sounds like
in the position he's
not only are these type of like, I don't even want to say content, I'm gonna say non-tent. So the type of these channels, like they create a problem, but then also try to sell you on a solution. But then if they don't do either of those things, they just tell you that here are all these problems, but nothing really worthwhile to do about it other than to buy my merchandise.
They're hustlers, and they hustle because they like, you know how sometimes they'll be like, listen, there's a bunch of voices in the room. They're all telling you things.
But listen to what I tell you.
The right things. Some are telling you the wrong things. Which ones are you going to hear? The first ones you hear are the loudest ones in the room. So when I did, and I'm going to admit, I did dive into, because I wanted to see what it was about. When I was going through my own stage of not understanding what was going on in my relationship with women, and I was hurt and I was angry and I was trying to comprehend, and I needed to find some type of answers. When I first started, I didn't really fall into like Andrew Tate and them. I seen them, and I want to give everybody a fair shot. Okay, what does this person have to say? I heard what they have to say. And like you said about, that's why I think with Synthetic Man, I'm not going to say Drinker and Gundam, because while they have more angry deliveries, not really angry deliveries, I know Drinker delves into a lot of sarcasm.
I'll put it this way. They're definitely counterculture, and that is needed. Counterculture is absolutely needed.
He kind of dives into the sarcasm. Synthetic Man is just pure anger. You know what I mean? I don't want to sit there and listen to a 55-minute video of somebody yelling at me. It just doesn't do it for me personally. I send videos to my boy, and people who talk in like, even tones, flat tones, they bore him. So maybe he needs to hear somebody yell at him. Maybe he needs to hear somebody talk passionately for him. For me, I don't want somebody yelling at me for 50 minutes. It doesn't do it for me. I don't want to hear that. But these guys, Andrew Tatum, whatever, it's all anger, it's all rage, it's all hate, it's disrespect towards women, it's this and that and whatever. And it's like, I can't really stand behind that because I know good women. It's just I want to understand what's going on here. And it's like, you're telling me a piece of it, but you're telling me a very jaded piece of it. This is kind of why, like, if I don't subscribe to any of these. I'm my own person. I don't belong to a group or whatever. I don't subscribe. But if I had to, like back then when I was going through it, I would say MGTOW is probably one of the better ones, because it's like, they're not about putting down women. They're not about you being angry. They're really just about, listen, do your own thing, go your own way, improve your own life. And if you get all of that done, you are happy, you're satisfied, you learn to love yourself, and you want to turn around and double back and get into a relationship or whatever, go for it then. But if you don't want to, then that's fine. But the most important thing that you need to do, and everybody needs to know this, you need to love yourself first, because you can't really expect anybody to love you if you don't love yourself. You can't expect them to do it properly. Going back to the saying you were saying earlier, you can use this as a title, you'll fall for anything, if you're not standing up for yourself, you're not standing for yourself, you don't love yourself, you'll go for whatever, because the first person showing you any type of attention, the first person showing you any kind of affection, the first person to show any light into your darkness, you're going to grab onto it and cling to it, because you don't care for yourself, and so when they start turning around and going the other way with it, you're not going to be like, hey, I'm not being respected here anymore. I'm not being cherished here. I'm not being appreciated. So you get those lessons from that kind of thing. But it's a very exploitative culture on the internet and in the world right now about using people's anger and hurt and rage to profit off of them. And I believe nobody does that more. Well, it's kind of like losing its sparkle now, but the red pill was really just get men who are hurt, who are angry, who are, unable to this and that and whatever in this current culture, which does suck. And use that anger, use that to make profits. And then the females did it with something called female dating strategy, where it's like, all right, we'll use men, act like we want to go out on dates with them and use them for the free date, use them for
Oh, that's
their
messed up.
resources, use them for this,
That's
use them
messed
for
up.
that. So you see what I'm saying? And I believe that going back to the original question, the divide between men and women is we stop trying to have conversations trying to understand each other.
Yeah, it
We
doesn't
stop
feel
trying to
organic
have
anymore. It feels like, honestly, it feels like the
yeah,
dead
we
internet theory in full effect. But
yeah, we've
man,
stopped. We've stopped talking to one another. We've stopped wanting to communicate. Now it's like, oh, well, men are backing out of dating. Well, women are now backing out of dating. But really, we're both just lonely. So it's like you could be like, well, well, they quit, we quit, or they don't want a thing that we quit. But it's like this is not solving the problem.
yeah,
This is just speeding up the end a lot faster because if you don't create babies, you're not going to have another generation. If you pass on this frustration and anger and hatred, this degradation of women, this idea that we don't need men, this is why I had a problem with things like the Barbie movie. You see what I'm saying? Because in this day and age when the divide is getting wider and wider between the two sexes, I can appreciate they wanted to make jokes out of it, but we really need things that show, hey, we need you guys, and we need things that say, we need you women. And that was the perfect. You got and I mean, my mind is still blown to this day about how crazy these people went over a Barbie movie. But you got everybody and their mother and their sister and their grandmother and whatever coming to see this movie. What better time to put a message in the movie where it's like, you told your jokes, you had your fun, you told your thing. Let's end it off positively with like a, hey, in this world, men need women, women need men. We both need each other. We both need each other. But they wanted to make jokes about gynecology and whatever and whatever. Sure.
women,
You
how do
got it.
y'all feel about this? I think that if men are supposed to be pressured into sex, money, and power, what are women pressured into?
They're
What's
pressured
it
into,
like on the other side?
well, yeah, no, actually, yeah. If anybody's in this, listen to this at this point, and you want to let it be known, because I mean, we definitely want to hear. I mean, I can't say, we're all about conversations, and we don't want to. No, we'd love to hear from the other side.
Yeah, because
But I
we
mean,
are.
I don't. I can say it from our side because I'm a guy. You can say it from my side because you're a guy. But we don't fully know. But I mean, I imagine that they're pressured into beauty standards and other kinds of standards. I was just talking to one of my friends earlier this morning about how you know uh her daughter's father looks at the daughter as in like, oh, you're at this age, but you're still going out and partying and you don't have any kids and you don't have a husband. So they're under pressure to societal pressure to do this and be a mother at this age and
I was like, I'm
stop
sorry,
doing this at this
you
point
told
in
us
life and
to not date anyone when I was in school. But that
yeah,
also
you know
does
what I
have
mean.
crazy
So
unforeseen consequences and ramifications. But like, yeah, no, I get you. I get you.
it's just a very wide divide, and I mean it leans into other problems too because being single, I've been on dating sites and I've checked them out at behest of friends and stuff like that, and when you go on there now, um there's a whole lot of bots and scammers and stuff like that, and it's like on the one hand, being from where I'm from, again, people hustling is people hustling. In my eyes, it's like personally, it's on me to make sure I'm not getting hustled. They're trying to hustle, and I'm trying not to get hustled. I respect where they're coming from, but it's up to me to not fall for it. On the other hand, it pisses me off to no end that people would take something like love, like there should be some type of lines where like you don't cross. People are exploiting people looking to make genuine connections and trying to. I mean, the dating site itself is already doing that. And then you have people on dating sites who will be like, hey, nice to meet you. They sweet talk you for a day, whatever. They ask you for your number, text you, blah, blah, blah. And then they get into their games. Oh, hey, I need, I really, they're about to turn my phone off, but I would like to keep talking to you. Can you send me some money so that I can pay for this?
That is
Or, hey,
insane.
this, that, and whatever. That's what it is. That's what it is. And I mean, one or two of them, obviously, or whatever the case may be, sure. But I mean, they're filled with themselves, filled with them for men, filled with them for women, filled with them for what do you call it, non-binary. So it's like any side of the spectrum you want to be on, you're gonna run into a lot of them, and there's a lot more of them than there are regular people. Some sites have it, where there's less
A
of
lot
them,
of bad
but
faith
you gotta,
actors hiding behind anonymity.
yeah, exactly. So it's like they're exploiting that now. So it's like it's just a wide exploitation of things. There's exploitation on anger. There's exploitation on hurt. There's exploitation on love. There's exploitation on happiness. There's exploitation on and it doesn't help the fact that men and women are already not on really speaking terms, you know what I mean, because you're being like, and this is where you get to your groupthink idea, you're being pulled in so many different directions and told so many things, and the problem with it is not really even men and women itself, but it's like things like family law, divorce court, stuff like that, which is
Yeah,
designed
you're thinking about the
not to
backhand.
put people. Yes, it's not, but it's not designed to put people in. Because honestly, being one of those people, I'm a hopeless romantic. So I grew up watching my parents, be married, be in love. I grew up around a lot of family who was, married together, relationships, blah 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 blah. I grew up being, yeah, you grow up, you get a job, you get married, you have kids, you raise them, you take care of them, whatever. That was my ideal. That was what I wanted to do. So it's like this is why I was trying to get myself into going and whatever. What I didn't know, and when I got older and started hearing about things like divorce and alimony and prenups and child support. As a kid, when you're in your Disney years and whatever, you think you get married, you live happily ever after at the end. As you get older and you learn more about life, you learn how things can go sideways. You learn about, other things that can happen. You start to see people who have nefarious intent and stuff like that. So you kind of, me who's like, always looking at the other side, I'm like, all right, what do I need to be prepared for? Should it come down to the worst case scenario or whatever? And then, you learn about how these things can go sideways. I'm like, okay, but I'm not going to believe that. I've seen people defy the odds. I've seen this and that and whatever. So you start to learn, okay, what do I need to do to make sure that things don't go south? All right, I need to keep working on my relationship. I need to keep putting in effort. I need to keep doing this. I need to keep doing that. I need to be available emotionally to my partner. I need to communicate this and that and whatever. Okay, right? You think like, all right, if I do these things, my relationship will be successful, will be good, will be okay. Then you get out there, you talk to people, you hear stories, you hear things, you talk, you listen, and you hear about people who are like, yo, listen, man, I was a good husband, I was a good wife, I was a good whatever. And, one day my spouse, my significant other, decided they was gonna do blah blah blah. They was gonna step out. They was encouraged to cheat. They was encouraged to go and live their life, put their happiness first, whatever. And I don't do this to fear monger, but this is my own personal experience, my own personal journey. Yeah, my partner decided to do this. Wow, that's crazy. How long was y'all together? Few years, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever. Oh, okay, all right. Well, because I always thought that it was like, well, if you didn't put forth the effort, then yeah, obviously something's gonna happen. Did you guys this now? No, I put forth the effort all the time. I tried to do this, I tried to do that, da 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 da. It was just completely out of my hands. Okay, okay, all right. Well, something that can happen. Sometimes that can happen. One story, two stories, 5 stories, 10 stories. It's like, all right, you kind of get concerned a little bit here. But
Yeah.
then I was like, all right, well, these were all like short term. Maybe they missed something. Maybe they went for it too fast. Maybe they didn't fully know who they was getting involved with, whatever, whatever. Okay. Then I started hearing more stories. I was together for 10 years. I was together for 20 years. We was together for 30 years, 35 years, whatever. They just woke up one day, somebody got in their ear, somebody started hitting on it at work, somebody started doing this happened, that happened, da da da. And the more you learn, the more you realize that it's out of your control. And that's fine. It's out of your control. Sometimes things happen, people go apart, whatever, whatever. Okay.
Right. So now you have
But
to
it's
ask
not
yourself, what are
as
the things that you can control before it happens, when it's happening, and then after it happens?
Yeah, you have to weigh up the worth and the risk and
Yeah,
whatever.
like if you're hoping
And
for the
that's what I'm
best and planning
saying.
for the worst, like it's a strategy. But and I get it, right? When you hear 10 people saying the same thing, it is pretty like, yeah, that seems legit. But then you get that one person that's like, well, yeah, no, it's different for me. Funny enough, I met my missus through Facebook. My grandparents are still together. 61 years, gonna be 62 come August. So
Awesome.
now, even though, right, you just gave me 10 different examples, here's this one story that has more power than those 10 combined, right? That's what it feels like sometimes, right? Because we
Mm-hmm.
ask these questions indirectly and or otherwise to validate our own preconceived notions, internal biases, and anything else that we don't outwardly project. So when we hear these things, or we go, yeah, I knew it all along, I'm not going to do it, right? It's like, but you still owe it to yourself to try. If someone wanting to be in a relationship is that important to them, do your due diligence and do the things you need to do. If it's not working for you
Mm-hmm.
online, okay, get a hobby. You might have started with, okay, I started going skiing, right, to go find my one true, but then I actually ended up liking skiing. Or you're like, man, I don't have enough money for a hobby. Okay, so what are you gonna do? You're gonna take more hours at the job? Are you gonna move up the corporate ladder? Are you gonna find new employment? But you see how you're doing things differently than what you would normally do in your life to get the things that you thought you wanted. It's like, oh, I ended up finding this person, but what did I do to get it? I ended up getting a job that I like. I ended up being in a better work environment. I had a better pay. I had more time to myself. Like I made time for myself because I realized how important it was to do this type of thing to help rejuvenate my psyche and come back into something fresher and feeling newer about it. And now here you are 5, 10, 15 years later. And it all started with, what can I do for myself? I don't know why people try to
Yeah.
skip the steps when they want the best things that come with being the best. If you want to do it right, you don't skip steps. But
Yeah.
that goes back into the internet saying you can get this now if you just listen to me. I'm gonna give you the tricks and the trades, the shortcuts, the secrets to life, right? And all that sounds enticing, right? Because it just feels like, well, what do I got to lose? Try your individuality. Try your sense of self. Because once you don't have that,
Yeah.
you will literally fall for anything. And then you'll become a messy
Mm-hmm.
blob of an amalgamation with all these different thoughts and feelings that aren't your own. And when you've had enough, what do you think is going to be the most appropriate, big air quotes here, thing in your head that you think is the best thing to take? So let's not let it come to that. Because remember, at the end of the day, I don't want to say it's just a girl or it's just a guy. But like, there's more to life than the booty. You'll be okay. It's gonna take a while, but
Absolutely.
if that's gonna
Yeah.
be someone's life journey to figure out, then like that's gonna be your life journey. That's the course you set for yourself. But if something else branches in there where you value something more than a relationship, because by you just naturally existing, there's a chance that may happen. It's low, but it's not zero. I think you're gonna be okay.
Yes, man. It's not impossible. And if I had to say anything, getting back to the internet people and whatever, there's no cure all for any of the problems that you face or whatever the case may be. Somebody can't offer you this 5, 10 step solution that's gonna be constructed to work for you. A lot of people, and I can't really stand like people who'll be like, yeah, listen, the answer is simply as simple as this. Like they can give you advice, they can give you guidance, they can tell you what worked for them, but it's not a guarantee that it's going to work for you. Anybody who's going to say this will absolutely 100% work for you is wrong. There's people who have tons of money but still can't find love. There's people who hit the gym every day, multiple times a day, and still can't find love. Like there's no one-stop shop solution for any of this. So don't buy into anybody saying, listen, this is definitely absolutely guaranteed gonna work for you. It's a science, it's this, it's that. Like the biggest thing that you can do is you can go to these people. I'm not against some, and like I said, information is great. It's allowing people to make more informed decisions, and that's what we should be angling for in life is for you to make more informed decisions. But it's not gospel. what these people say. It's not gospel what we say. It's not gospel what I say, whatever, anything like that. It's just people telling you things from their experience through their eyes, from their point of view. Take it, listen to it, apply what you need to apply, relate to what you relate to, and then, listen to something else, or hear somebody else's perspective. Think about it from another angle. Challenge yourself. Challenge these people that you listen to, whatever the case may be, and see and come up with your own ideals, your own things to believe in, your own things to think. That individuality is important. And also, it's just the fact of you listening to people, because the only thing that will help the divide is people wanting to sit down, conversate with the other side, listen to the other side, acknowledge what they're saying, and go back and forth and try to reach some kind of middle ground. You know what I'm saying? And acknowledgement to the other side, you don't know how big that'll be. Especially to guys, as a guy can tell you, somebody listening and acknowledging the problems that we go through is big. And to women I've talked to, I can tell you that acknowledging the problems that they go through is big for them. It feels good to have somebody want to understand what you're going through, want to talk to you, whatever. Bringing it back to something recent. I know Marcell, I think Marcell doesn't really relate to this, but Kendrick Lamar performed at the halftime show at the Super Bowl. Big fuss. Was it too black? Was it too ghetto? Was it too loud? Should rap perform at the Super Bowl? Blah, blah, blah. Whatever. That was a thing for like black people, black culture, rap being black culture, performed on the Super Bowl. And all of the messages that Kendrick Lamar put into his performance and whatever. Some people get it, some people loved it, some people didn't get it, some people hated it, whatever the case may be. But the thing that I take away from that is some people didn't understand what it was, but they cared enough to watch it again, go on YouTube, watch videos of people breaking it down and explaining it. And these are people who are not from our culture. And to me, somebody who is a huge Kendrick Lamar fan and is into the messages that he puts into the music and performance and whatever, I can't tell you how much it touched me to see people who are not from our culture care enough to go dig in and learn about what he was trying to say, what he was trying to do. And they're like, yeah, even though this may not have been for me, I went and watched videos and I went to go figure out what he was trying to say. And I thought it was amazing, the art that he would put into. And I was like, thank you. You know what I mean? For even taking the time to care about our culture enough to want to look into that. You know what I mean? So sitting down and talking to somebody and listening and acknowledging how they feel, their thoughts, their feelings is a big deal. So if you can talk to somebody from the other side or somebody who has a different opinion or different background or different thoughts on things than you do, and acknowledge where they're coming from and have an actual conversation about where they're coming from, that's big. Try that out. That's my advice.
Amen.
All right. So, well, that's all I had. That's all I had. I wanted to talk about that.
Dope.
What you thought about the divide and this and that, and then Valentine's Day. It was planned for February. It came out in March, but I mean,
that's crazy that this all cropped from just Valentine's Day. King Louis,
yep,
you a bum. Even in death.
That was the thought. That was the thought. Came a month later, but what are you gonna do? I think it was cool. I think it was all right. I think we covered some nice ground today.
Yeah, I would think so. I hear the police sirens, so you know what? It's been real. It's been fun. I'm going to jail. Bye, guys.
Get up. It's time to get up out of here. All right, well. Take us to cell, so.
All right, well, guys, if you're feeling tight in your chest, take a deep breath and let me tell you a joke. My favorite superhero is Typo Man. You know why? Because he rights all the wrongs. At 2:23 p.m., the Bible said...
Is that a bad joke?
It is. The Bible said it was early in the afternoon. And I need all y'all to take a deep breath for real. and say it with me. Stay happy, stay healthy. Don't do anything we wouldn't do, except find the kernel of your soul. Or put kernels in your body just before you get cremated. That way you'll burst into a bevy of popcorn and it'll be hilarious. But always keep on being yourself. And we will see you in the next video. I have been Marcell.
This is Money Green.
And you, the wonderful viewer, I hope doesn't crash out. Take care, good night, and God bless. Bye.
It was a movie.